got an NFL offer.
Don't play with me.
Damn, they'll take it.
Aren't you a little too old to be playing football?
Wait, what?
They want somebody that can run a 40, not somebody that is 40.
If you've been watching literally anything, you've probably seen this wave of sports betting ads arriving
On the
online,
inside, I'm like,
filled with some of the biggest faces in not only sports, but the entirety of the entertainment industry.
And you're entering a huge library full of exclusive games.
They got Jamie Foxx out here like he's in a Boyz II Men music video.
BetMGM's got all the sports betting in one place, and it's live, baby.
Or as to say, FanDuel can really afford Super Bowl level ads like it's nothing.
We'll make a new bet around every 2 seconds. Not only on the game, but on the game of life. Betting that love is just a swipe away.
In the vast expanse of human endeavors, few are as timeless and universally practiced as gambling. At the core of our desire to gamble is an inherent illusion of control. When we throw dice, choose a card, or spin the roulette, it feels as though our choices, strategies, or even mere presence could somehow influence the outcome. From ancient dice games in Mesopotamia to the glittering casinos encased in Las Vegas, humans continue to be enticed by the thrill of wagering. Philosophers have long pondered the nature of free will and determinism.
To say that free will is an illusion is really just the flip side of saying that the self is an illusion.
And in the world of gambling, these grand themes are condensed within the finite walls of luxurious establishments.
My name is Doyle.
The belief that our next action could lead to a victory, no matter how irrational, is evidently intoxicating to society. Casinos serve not only as houses of solitary vice, but social hubs where we gather with others to partake in a shared recreation. The communal experience of winning and losing, the shared tension and release, create bonds between players, an atmosphere of camaraderie where tales of near misses and big wins become the fabric of legend. Offering a break from the mundane, casinos give us a chance to escape
Casinos
routine.
combining two things I love, touchdowns and bonus rounds.
Every bet holds a promise of transformation, a shot of changing one's life or week with a single roll or spin. Even if we understand the odds at stake, the allure of instant fortune has been compelling for thousands of years.
That means we don't just get a boat, we get a goalpost. What a line! In the Bellagio Fountain. And we're here in the UK to make every game an occasion.
Tapping into deep-seated desires, fears, and hopes that have shaped human civilization for millennia. In each game, we stand at the precipice of choice and chance, and are reminded of our place in the cosmos, a tiny entity making choices in a vast, mostly unpredictable universe. And in this realization, perhaps lies the true allure of the gamble. But now you can
Red 19.
bet on Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, so it's not really gambling, right? Sports betting has swiftly transformed from a forbidden pastime in back alleys to a multi-billion-dollar mainstream industry. In the US today, wagering on games is now legal in the majority of states, and even openly discussed on sports commentary. A far cry from the era when gambling was largely illegal and kept in the shadows across the industry. It's like everywhere you turn, any 30-second clip, seemingly a movie ad or a product campaign, ends up being a DraftKings commercial with yet another superstar casually perusing in a room that looks just a little too perfect for upper middle class.
Really.
Unlike its location-based older brother, sports betting apps can literally be accessed anywhere and at any time.
And betting that
Leading to the unfathomable amount of times I've caught coworkers and friends watching a game, but in reality, they just set a parlay for Andrew Thomas. With bankruptcies rising across the board and hundreds of thousands of bent necks glued to phone screens, though don't seem like indicators of heightened societal gambling
back in
trends,
free bets if you don't win. So bet on America's #1 sportsbook.
is looking a little too similar to how things played out in Nevada in 1931.
How lucky can one guy be?
I
one of the biggest casinos in Las Vegas to run.
Let's picture a casino. Just about everyone would have imagined well-dressed patrons sipping on champagne and expensive whiskey. The sounds of chips and wheels, and the distinctive luxury of the opulent LED-filled surroundings. The thrill of casinos and gamble pays out in dopamine, the famous neurotransmitter linked to reward and pleasure. The unpredictability of the outcome only heightens this experience. You're not merely seeking the monetary gain, but the emotional roller coaster that accompanies it. It's a chase for that fleeting moment of euphoria, of which, when achieved, can be evidently potent enough to keep many coming back, in an attempt to recapture the same glory obtained prior, but never really coming to fruition. Extravagance is the aim of the game for most owners.
With tools to help you play safe. Get ready for the golden era in sports and casino!
No expense is spared in creating the ambiance of elegance. Wealth and success ooze out of the limestone and amber trims, the glittering crystal chandeliers, and the beautiful decor, giving every single player something to aim for as they play their wagers. Take the Casino de Monte Carlo in Monaco, made famous more as a filming location for a few of our best known James Bond movies. Monte Carlo is quintessentially glamorous. Opened in July of 1865, the Belle Epoque architecture is sumptuous and breathtaking, with beautiful marble and gold touches scattered across. Though there are just as many psychological triggers being impacted as are visual or perceptual. As there's a reason casinos rarely have windows or clocks, or even taking your phone out during a game is a big no-no across the industry. They're engineered to make you lose track of time. New research out of Flinders University in Australia even suggests that the lighting used in gambling environments could be quietly altering how you make choices, making players more prone to taking risks. The color of the light-encased tables can do much more than just set the mood. The more LED lights, the more behavior can be shaped. Researchers found the blue-enriched lighting reduces a player's sensitivity to losses. In the controlled experiment, participants exposed to this kind of light took riskier bets and responded less emotionally to losing. Casinos, with its chaotic, random nature, serves as arenas where we can confront fate directly. For many, walking into a casino is like entering a modern-day temple, if you will, a place to commune with the unknown forces that guide our lives. Here, amidst the noise and lights, players seek signs and patterns, hoping for a glimpse into the fickle nature of luck and chance. The gambling industry contributes billions to the US economy and many other nations whom have also invested in casino cities across the world.
Macau, gambling capital of the universe.
State officials and owners alike celebrate the huge revenues in both players and tax generated by this booming industry. But the financial incentives oftentimes overshadow the importance of addressing the growing number of problem gamblers. As casino revenue has only increased in recent years from the rise of online gambling and sports betting acting as a two-pronged approach to envelop the newer digital generation.
Fanatics blows every other sportsbook out of the water. We give you up to 10% fan cash back on your bets, win or lose.
So has the need for gambling prevention and treatment. The industry has mostly avoided the issue, rather than acknowledge the growing problems simmering the past decade or so. They have instead chosen to focus on how to prevent issues from arising.
Fast friends, they were +1s to a high school reunion. Not fun. But then someone pulled out the BetMGM app. Who you got? That's all it took.
Much of this pinned around responsible gambling measures, which allow players self-imposed limits on the dollars and time spent betting. That's like knowing someone's an alcoholic and letting a few drinks slip by as long as they're watching their tab.
Yes.
The lack of attention on problem gambling and its related social costs to society calls into question the even though significant economic upsides of this recent explosion of legal betting.
Love slots? The DraftKings casino app's got you covered. They got tons of slots to choose from, like Cash Eruption.
Consider a case in point. After catching excessive, repetitive ads presenting glamorous, exciting activities with oftentimes offers to place free bets and a "you just can't lose" slogan slapped on the front, a player decides to reluctantly place their first bet, perhaps even reassured by the responsible gambling measures touted by the industry. our player has every intention of gambling responsibly. Let's say the player wins. Experiencing an adrenaline rush, they now become captivated by the game. Then continue to place more bets. Maybe even win some more. But inevitably begin to lose. And eventually, the responsible gambling principles fall by the wayside.
Every moment in life is a bet, but life doesn't offer you up to $1,000.
And this was exactly how it was designed to go. After a short time, the player is hooked and find themselves in a downward spiral. Any mentally sound adult would know to cut losses then and GTFO. Though the extravagance of casinos lure in a distinct group of individuals, whom are usually perceptible to rubbing salt in their wounds.
And when their bet hit, turns out this reunion wasn't so bad. Make it a bet that turns into a bond. BetMGM Sportsbook. Make it legendary.
As Super Bowl 60 had just happened, the stakes weren't high only on the field, but in the millions of bets being placed on one single game. From parlays to prop bets, sports betting in America is at an all-time high. For many out here, the Super Bowl is less about touchdowns or even the $1 million 30-second ad campaigns sprinkled throughout.
You're not the only one. This can be heavy.
But more so on the betting action off the field and on the couch.
This is you, and this is your first hunch of the season. It's parlay time.
More than 1 in 4 adults bet on this year's matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and once again, the New England Patriots. A record-breaking statistic only topping that of last year's 69 million people, which was already a 34.7% increase from the previous Super Bowl. Sports betting companies like DraftKings
instantly match your first bet up to $200.
and FanDuel
200 in bonus bets. Plus, every customer gets a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from
spent over $430 million nationwide on TV ads just last year. And they're able to drop $1 million ads every other week as they've become a $1 billion industry due to recent legislation.
Now, sports betting won't stay in Vegas. The Supreme Court today struck down a federal law that required most states to ban it. The 6-3 ruling declared the federal law unconstitutional, a violation of states' rights.
Currently, 38 states, along with DC, allow some form of online betting accessibility.
Big news! DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to North Carolina. You'll be so dialed into every play that you forget to eat your wings. You made my wings cold, DraftKings.
With the American sports betting industry posting a record $13.71 billion in revenue for just 2024 alone.
Your arms like you can disrupt the free throw.
Up from an already outrageous $11.04 billion the year
4 or
prior.
5 different screens that you guys could put whatever game.
Holding a poker tournament with friends. Drafting your bracket for March Madness.
Dress it up and make it real for me.
I'm very excited about March Madness.
19-year-old Jason Vassar loves sports.
Or a weekend trip to Vegas. Is fun and entertaining for most, while also being generally harmless. But each of these tend to be time or location dependent. And with modern sports betting apps and online betting sites, you can realistically gamble at any time.
A home run will have you crying like it's the birth of your child.
On just about anything. And my God, people do. It's not just basketball, football, soccer. I know it's football, but for repetitiveness sake, or any other mainstream sporting event.
The ruling opens the door to an explosion in betting on pro and college games of all kinds.
Oregonians have wagered a staggering $57 million just last year on freaking table tennis, making it the 4th largest draw in the entire state.
There's always action, matches don't last long, and in-game betting lines change fast. In the wee hours of the morning, a sports bettor in Oregon put down $35,000 on this match in Poland between 2 relatively unknown players in an empty gym.
This is like the crack cocaine of sports gambling.
Keep in mind, this was before Marty Supreme even came into the picture.
Only this game, it fills stadiums overseas. It's only a matter of time before it fills stadiums in the United States, too, before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
The landscape of sports betting in the U.S. has changed dramatically in recent years, largely prompted by a 2018 Supreme Court ruling striking down the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act of 1992, or PASPA,
What is PASPA?
set in place by President George H.W. Bush.
I will keep America moving forward, always forward, for a better America, for an endless, enduring dream and 1,000 points of light. This is my mission, and I will complete it.
Previously limiting sports gambling to Nevada for the past 2 decades before. This 2018 decision left each individual state governments free to regulate sports gambling as they pleased, fundamentally transforming how we consume sports content.
It's Broncos time.
Modern sportsbooks extend far beyond the traditional wagers on game outcomes, offering hundreds of prop bets for events like the Super Bowl, allowing fans to bet on just about everything from the length of the performance of the national anthem to the Gatorade color used throughout the game, all encompassing eye-catching animations and sounds within the exciting mobile apps. This diversification and ease of access makes betting more accessible than it's ever been, and reaching the widest range of audiences since the first casino in 1931. From just the size and scale of campaigns, the financial stakes are enormous for companies like BetMGM and FanDuel, and it's not just Super Bowl events. Our major three bought out the most TV ads from the start of the NFL season through the first 3 weeks. DraftKings spent $37 million.
We hit the jackpot. What you mean we?
FanDuel, $26.5 million.
Whichever one speaks to you.
Eagles, Browns, Broncos, Bills. They all.
And BetMGM spent around $11.4 million,
Live is where the action is at. And with BetMGM,
which was the exact budget of their entire year prior. It's no wonder even Stephen A. Smith is talking about sports betting.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. I think it was inevitable. This opens the gateway for states to pass laws that will ultimately legalize gambling. Fantasy sports, for example, I just think that this is something that's been going on for quite a long time.
From the pre-game broadcast to post-game highlights, it's truly inescapable how the gaming industry have taken over sports.
When you think of Las Vegas, you're likely thinking of one single road that cuts across the map.
The Strip isn't even in the city of Las Vegas.
Sports and gambling have been intertwined for more than 2,000 years, since ancient Greek spectators at the first Olympic Games had placed informal wagers on their favorite athletes, tracing its roots back to ancient civilizations and following a winding path through scandals, crackdowns, and technological revolutions. The history of sports betting is a story of cultural shifts and continually evolving attitudes. Given we're just about to enter March Madness, one of the single biggest gambling events of the year, when over $3 billion is expected to be wagered during each. Until fairly recently, sports leagues took great lengths to distance themselves from sports betting.
Hey guys, ESPN Bet is here. Finally, a sports book from your favorite sports brand.
Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Even initially forbidding Las Vegas from having its own sports team and rejecting its proposal for a tourism ad during the Super Bowl in 2003. The shift from that point to where we are now happened cautiously at first, but then after 2018, all at once.
Wait, how do you spell it again? It's G-R-G. No, that's not it. O-R-G. It's G-O-R-G. So that's Gorgeous Alexander?
Man, try his nickname.
Initially, FanDuel and DraftKings took hold in their safe haven of Nevada and promptly made a name for itself in the industry. Then 2018 Supreme Court ruling
You're talking about an avenue to stimulate the economy. Obviously, there are negative elements to it that we all have to be careful of.
And suddenly, our sporting companies had all the leverage they needed to instill lobbying efforts to get all statewide initiatives passed.
Which is why the sports leagues were against it until recently. I mean, I think back as 2012, they sued against legalizing gambling throughout states because obviously sports leagues were very, very concerned about it. But in the end, it's been trending in this direction for quite some time. I'm not surprised by it. It's long overdue. Now that it's going to be legalized for the most part, you can legislate laws and whatever, and implement and create laws that ultimately will monitor the world of sports gambling.
All they needed was time, and not much either. In modern day, the rise of online sports betting has been found to correlate with an increase in gambling harms. And as mentioned before, in an effort to exercise ever little degrees of civic responsibility, the industry has promoted responsible gambling as a way to promote healthy gambling practices. A camouflage, if you will, since these preventions and treatment would adversely affect the financial health of the industry. Not to mention the tax revenue involved.
BetMGM is where you leave ordinary for something a little more interesting.
Hopping into any one of your local casinos, you would quickly notice that they often remove two key letters from their signs, ads, and brochures. References to gambling become gaming in much of the messaging. This slight yet effective wording change disguises the very essence of gambling, which is the involvement of risk.
What is going on?
As words softened and problems downplayed, the severity of these issues continue to be hidden. More people, oblivious to its dark side, develop gambling problems, resulting in devastating circumstances. The casino industry is highly lucrative and provides much needed tax revenue. Its fundamental narrow financial focus, however, doesn't consider the detrimental social impacts which come from problem gambling. But they weren't alone. Many team owners hopped on board too, seeing the evident financial gains. Adam Silver, our NBA commissioner, even openly admitted the data is clear that if somebody has bet on a game, even a minuscule bet, they're much more likely to engage in that match, to watch it, and most of the time for more minutes. Fans are more likely to be interested in the participants and follow the sport as a whole. Allowing gambling was a big win for sports leagues, who not only benefited from increased fan engagement, but also for further lucrative licensing deals.
Was better fit for the moment than me, then I could possibly sit down for a little longer. I have not seen that yet.
The NFL made almost $135 million last year from gambling-related sponsorships, tens of millions more than the runner-up liquors industry. On top of that, leagues get an additional $130 million or so a year from licensing their data and players to sportsbooks to help set odds. The influence sports betting now have on sports itself is irrefutable. According to the National Council on Problem Gambling, the annual social cost of disordered gambling in the US, including job loss, gambling-related criminal justice, amongst others, amounted to approximately $14 billion. And this doesn't even equate those who have lost homes, savings, relationships, or are forced to initiate bankruptcy.
What do you mean you're bankrupt?
Keep it down. Don't want the boss to find out.
Well, she's gonna know when you can't pay for anything.
Even more troubling is that an estimated 19.2% of those struggling with gambling issues contemplate, according to a study by Gamblers Aware, the highest among any addiction. Some studies even report the cost of higher problem gambling rates in certain areas could be roughly equal to a state's takings, and implies that the degree of economic gain could also be a mirage. Though this is still location dependent. Regardless, in some ways, the same tactics that's been formulated by the gambling industry has also silently been adopted by many other.
I do not look up to anybody in the league right now, currently not at all, not the slightest.
More innocent markets. As with the use of light to manipulate consumer behavior has been dubbed by retailers as well, whom have long exploited the psychological effects of lighting, using bright targeted lighting like spotlights or high-intensity LEDs, drawing attention to products, or walkways being intentionally checkerboard to create a biological urgency and stress to stay in stores longer. Though visuals are only half of the battle, as sound is also heavily manipulated in casinos to create sensory manipulation. In most immersive gambling environments, upbeat music are usually played to create less risk-averse patrons through speeding up decision-making and creating a false sense of urgency. Jingles and celebratory sounds serve as auditory rewards, reinforcing positive feelings even in the absence of a financial win. Slot machines, even when you lose, produce celebratory sounds and flashing lights, creating a loss disguised as a win, coined by researchers. This sensory mismatch tricks the brain into thinking it's succeeding, distorting our ability to assess risk or stop playing altogether. But at least you still have to drag yourself out of your home and over to a physical location. and you're only betting one hand at a time. Give or take, y'all could take your side bets elsewhere. In today's sports books, you're not just betting the final score. You can bet on everything. I'm talking touchdowns, TKOs, RBIs, rebounds, yardage, bulks, to where one could essentially run themselves dry off of just one game. But hey, you'll just get it all right back the next bet, right?
Mike Tyson? This is my favorite part coming up right now.
He still got it. From ancient what? More than 1 in 4 adults. More than one that is like the second you press record is loud. A camouflage. Hey yo, what if camels had camouflage? Welcome to the end of eras. ISIS melted back to life. Dynasties decapitated. You just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. Lil' mama used to always keep a little bit of the incense in the window while she folding her clothes. And though life will have its issues, it will never be a problem with your mother.